which was eventually made into the movie. I'm going to stop up to here and go into the Colonel Sabot killing. Gary Webb received the map that I'd given to Senator Hart through his security advisor and Senator Hart before the monkey business. There was a sabotage on that situation. But at any rate, the map had all the staging areas. It had the aircraft ID numbers. It had the routings. It had the coded names. And it had the people involved, which led into the Iran-Contra. The information started going out to the senator. In 1983, he wrote a letter to the effect, turned it over to the Senate Armed Service Committee. Quote, they refused to investigate it. Even when the weapons showed up in cartel hands, laid out all over the plazas that had been firefights in that region, this administration and the other administration refused to acknowledge that there was any problems going on with the Zeta getting U.S.-made weapons. Okay, so there's the Mexico deal. Then let's go over to the other side of the country. At that point in time, later, weapons began to show up in Jordan, in Turkey. Same MO, same operation, out of the direct commercial sales program. I started trying to vet this stuff to make sure that I wasn't making any mistakes about the dollar amount. Follow the money. Where is it going? Cutout companies. Did it go back into campaign contributions? I don't know. I started working on that, and then the wrath of God came down on me through anonymous deals, through character assassination. Tosh, you better shut up. Oh, you're getting way off base here. There's nothing to this. You're a conspiracy freak. Why do you want to take pop shots at Obama? He's a good man. I don't know what they're planning up there, but I do know that the incompetency is causing almost a damn conspiracy. It's making me wonder, are they really involved in this, creating diversions that takes us away from what's really going on? All right, now I'll start talking like a conspirator. All right, so I have to vet the information. In other words, I've told people, and I told them on your program, don't believe anything I tell you, don't believe anything you tell them. Get out and do it themselves, do their own legwork. All we can do, all you can do is point to people where to go to.
I agree. Specifically, though, there's now been intelligence reports come out, and then finally the FBI denied it. They admitted it 2 days ago. So some of this is coming out. We saw the shooter up in Ottawa a few days ago. What I'm getting at here with you, I guess yesterday, what I'm getting, or 2 days ago, what I'm getting at here with you is...
We have reports on that, too.
Yeah, your Skype cut out. Specifically, what do you know about Islamicists in Mexico and U.S. training bases with them? Tell us what you know.
Okay, I went in on a program, I think it was yours or Hagman, and then at that point in time, the intelligence report that there was an infiltration coming across in the flux of the children and all that kind of stuff, that they picked up, I think it was 9 Somalis, according to the Border Patrol, and these Somalis were filtered through Mexico, up through the porous border, between places like Antelope Wells, Columbus, and the Juarez segment, which is a very desolate, remote area of the desert Southwest at the 3-foot fence down there. So now, was that happening? Okay. They said that these things, they were already staging in safe houses in Las Vegas, Houston, Texas, Atlanta, Georgia, and they were infiltrating through porous borders in McAllen and those areas down south through Lajitas, and all this intelligence through the task force out of Fort Bliss, Texas, went through proper channels. The person that I'm talking about was transferred to drone school to train before he went over to Afghanistan. He gets in Afghanistan and says, hey, man, the same operation's going on over here that was going on in Mexico. I'm saying, wait a minute, you're saying that we're putting guns in the Zetas' hands? He says, not direct. You know what? Okay, so anyway, they asked me at one time, this is 209-210, would I come down there and so they could show me something. So I went down and saw a warehouse, and I saw the warehouse packed full of stock, and I even tried to take pictures of it and put tracking devices on the vehicles, which was all recorded by Narco News and Salem News. Mainstream media contacted me and said I was crazy, that there was nothing to it, and that's why they could not use it, and they had got that information from this administration. So then someone tells me, Mr. Plumlee, be very careful because the administration's out to get you. They're going to subpoena you. I said, okay, fine. I'll honor that subpoena. when someone else honors their subpoena or gets issued a subpoena, and I will stand side by side with that person and raise my right hand, and I will tell them, that committee, where this information come from, if that person would do likewise. Now, I blocked out the name there, but everybody knows who I'm talking about. I don't like to throw names out there, but so far I haven't heard anything from the subpoena, but I did hear some other things that I'm upsetting some people because I'm going into methods and procedures, and here's the problem, their problem. I'm not a government agent. I'm not employed. I don't take the U.S. government Treasury's money. This information is coming to me. There are people that are dedicated to saving this Constitution, and they're seeing it gradually through a process of evolution being eroded. And it's being eroded by incompetent people put in strategic positions that stops the actual flow of intelligence that is needed in order to save this country's.
Now let's stop right there. You told Nico and others specifically, repeat what you told us about not just radical Islamists coming across the border, but a training base in Mexico. And did you...
That's the reason I came down here, while we're bringing it up to date. The information I got, I'm still down here checking that out. I haven't released. I said, that's what I'm coming down here for. Here's the report. There's two training bases. One between out here in the desert Southwest in Chihuahua, which is directly between El Paso and Nogales, that area, Antelope Wells. It's very porous down there. I'm trying to get in touch with the Border Patrol right now to find out if they've had any reports of that. I do have a Border Patrol contact out of Santa Teresa, and he told me there's truth to that. However, I can't go out public at this point and say, I'm trying to get pictures. I'm trying to find out for sure. I'm trying to get next to the Marinos down there that are stationed in Palomas across from Columbus, New Mexico. Otherwise, they did a raid on a ranch here back in 2010, and it's recorded, and pictures of us shaking hands with the Border Patrol as the Mexican Marinos was raiding the ranch, and they found weapons there, U.S. weapons. Now, that was blocked out because, quote, national security.
Sure, let me say this. Shelly Castile, who was a high-level DEA agent, Vietnam vet, Border Patrol before that, DEA. Obviously, you know who we're talking about. Yes. Also a source for Gary Webb and others. Right. They set him up for just selling a few shotguns and stuff when he got divorced to raise money and put him in prison for a while. He said on my show in 2003, in studio, there's video of it on YouTube, that they were going to arm secret armies called Zetas down by the King Ranch, and that he'd been asked to go train these secret armies. They were going to claim that it was an infiltration, and that the Mexican army that was trained in the U.S. had turned against the Mexican government and formed the Zetas, but it wasn't true. When he said that, they came after him. So now you're because I don't want to get this wrong, what I'd heard you were saying, because you were talking to the producers, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that there may be Islamicist training bases that the West is protecting in Mexico. We've seen that leaking out in the news that they supposedly have training camps.
That's what the whole thing I'm down here for on this particular situation.
But you haven't confirmed that.
Well, wait a minute. Yes, okay, Sally was right on. In fact, some of us boys helped support him while he was in prison because he got a wrong deal. We're trying now to get his pension back from him because his information is proved to be 100%. Now, I'm going to go real fast and speed up here. Sally also knows about Hangar 3 because he ended up refueling one of our aircraft down there, and that's how I know Sally. And that goes back into Iran-Contra to the secret airbase known as Santa Elena, Costa Rica, and known as Point West in Oliver North's notebook. So Sally has a long history in this. Sure, what you just said is absolutely right. They jumped on that man, and they discredited his deal and robbed his pension and ruined him. Now, he had also passed some of the same information to Gary Webb. Now, I'm going to get into the Gary Webb bill. Gary Webb received copies of the Gary Hart map. Also, there was a Marine colonel that allegedly committed suicide, but they say it was murder. Okay, get into all that kind of stuff. At one point, Webb had that, but Webb could not connect the dots. Webb was a damn good reporter. He could not connect the dots to where Sabo had direct contact that these drugs were coming in and being pilfered out of El Toro to the black community in L.A., basically Ricky Ross. I went to and talked to Maxine Waters and Ricky Ross' attorney, and I told him this the same night that Sally and Michael Rupert, who has also recently committed suicide, had challenged CIA Director Jush at that particular point in time at the high school. I went on 6 o'clock news that night and said I didn't want to see a race riot started over this information. The dots had not been connected at that particular time. Webb did not use the Sabot story because he could not confirm it as being factual. That did not upset me, and it did not upset the other people. In fact, we supported Webb the best that we could. Nick Skoll turned around, took part of the Sabot story, Marine Colonel James Sabot, took his story, and he did an article around cocaine or Cocaine Airways, did a couple articles on me about my knowledge about El Toro and flying C-130s into El Toro to be offloaded with drugs and then reloaded to China Lakes with weapons and going down to the Contra. All right, that was also confirmed by Gary Webb and his security advisor, Bill Holden. That's all record now. That's all, okay, that goes to the Kerry Committee. This was all testimony of the Kerry Committee, and they classified my testimony and also classified what Selly had told them, their investigators. He did not go in front of committee because he was DEA. That information was confirmed, but yet they went after him on weapons that he sold. And in law enforcement, they exchange weapons all the time. Hell, we sell, shit, want to buy this one? Hell, no, I got this one. This is a good Smith & 40. This is a 9. This is a Ruger, you know. Oh, yeah, okay.
Well, he just had a divorce. I remember he was having money troubles on my show trying to sell books. He went and tried to sell like 10 of his guns at a gun show in the divorce, and then they came and grabbed him. That's
the way the ball goes. In other words, Selly made a bad mistake. Now, look, at hindsight, so quarterbacking, yeah, he knows it. When he was in prison, I sent him money down there and helped him out. And we talked about it. And I told him, I said, Sally, you got to get out there public. And we're getting off on Sally, but this ties into Webb. Webb and also to Nick Skoll. The book, the article, I Run Drugs for Uncle Sam, was published in 1990, April of 1990, before Colonel Sabot was killed, and that map was recorded in that article. That article, through San Diego Reader, has now been made into a book. Not my book. I don't have nothing to do with it. Also, Gary Webb knew about all that because he was receiving information, because he was working on the Ricky Ross thing, but he could not connect the dots to prove definitely.
And 2 months before he died, he called me and he said, I'm ready to come on your show. I want to put this stuff on the website. I've connected the dots.
He called me and asked me, what should he do? And I hadn't talked to him in about 6 months. And I said, what do you mean? Okay, now, Nick, I'm not saying, okay, I'm not saying, on the Gary Webb thing, here's my position on that. Yes, he committed suicide, but he was programmed through the Merca things, and you can verify this through the Men Who Stared at Goats, that movie, because on the back scene of that trailer, the documentation is proving there from Merca, Mockingbird, and all these kind of things, or psychological warfare, sublimination, that can pressure until they can subliminate and make you do things to yourself that you normally wouldn't do. Now, that's my position.
So you think they may have grabbed him and programmed him and then had him do it because...
I think he was programmed a year before he did the act because he was gradually getting on to things that was best left unheard of. Okay, Rupert, same way. And also Sully Castile. And I'll tell you some other people out there as good people, DEA, Hector Bareilles, and Phil Jordan, the El Paso intelligence. Okay, they've got the whole story. The documentation was released to the committee, which turned right around and classified a committee secret, sensitive top secret, and is still classified today. So here we are, the people that was involved in these ops, having to fight our own government to get our stories vetted and public in order to stop this money flow that's going into campaign contributions through the sale of illegal arms international. And that's still going on today, in my opinion. That's what I'm working on. That's why I have to come out here and let you people know this is what I'm working on before the fact. Otherwise, I'm going to go to a federal prison and be shut up, or I'm going to have an accident like Hastings and some of these other people. Now, okay, that makes
Oh
me
yeah, they blew
conspiracy
Hastings
now.
up. I even talked to his friends and family, and he
All
was
right.
running from the feds when they killed him.
Well, all right, there you are. I mean.